Growing up, my parents always told me of a story of a beautiful warrior princess named Mulan. She's known for her courage and loving devotion to her father and country. As highly requested, I'm going to show you guys my chibi version of Disney's Mulan. I think this is probably my most favorite character to make, and I hope you guys enjoy it. And of course, please show your support by liking this video. Let's get this tutorial started. You'll need a flesh-colored piece of clay for the head and some black clay for the hair. So go ahead and flatten out this black piece of clay into a thin sheet. I made my sheet about 3 to 4 millimeters thick, and you're going to shape this onto the head to get a rough idea of what her hair will look like. I'm just rolling this around the hair, and I'm going to outline where I want her bangs to be. And Mulan has a small piece of hair that dangles in the center of her forehead, and I'm just using an X-Acto knife to shape out where that piece of hair will be. Once you're done, just remove that clay from the head and go ahead and cut out your pattern. Remove all the excess clay, and with your fingertips, go ahead and smooth out any uneven or rough edges. Place your piece of hair back onto the head where you think you want your bangs to start, and go ahead and form the clay around the head. And once you're kind of happy with how the clay hugs the head, just cut off all the excess clay. And of course, smooth out any rough and uneven edges with your fingers or a clay tool. The head should look something like this. Smaller piece of black clay, you're going to use this to form the bum on the top of her head. You're going to go ahead and flatten this ball out a little bit and position it on the crown of her head. With a dark red maroon piece of clay, roll this out into a long, thin snake. Flatten this out with a roller, and you're going to position this piece between the bun and the head as her headband. Just remove the excess piece of clay and your head should look like this. Now with a dark forest green piece of clay, flatten this out into a small pancake, and you're going to cut out a semicircle with an X-Acto knife. Smooth out any rough and uneven edges with your fingers. Take a yellow piece of clay and roll this into a very long and very thin snake. Now position this piece of clay along the border of your green clay to form the little comb that goes in her hair. Remove the excess clay, and to form some detailing on your comb, just take a tool and form parallel indentations all along the green piece of clay. Cut off the tip so that you have a very sharp edge on one side, and with some white clay you're going to form the flower that's on top of her comb. Just form little itty bitty petals of white clay, and you're going to take at least 5 of these petals and put them together to form the little flower on top. Once you're done, go ahead and roll up each of the petals a little bit so it gives the flower a more three-dimensional look. Now with some yellow pieces of clay, roll out 3 small circles to put it in the center of the flower to add color, and just position this flower on the top of your comb. And your finished comb looks like this. Now position this somewhere on Mulan's hair. She actually has this pretty close to her bun, so I'm going to position it right here. And now we can move on to her earrings. So take a small piece of yellow clay and roll it into a ball, and put this yellow ball onto a longer piece of clay, and this will be her earring, and you just position this on both sides of her head. So minus her face, her head is pretty much complete. So let's move on to the body. So take a white piece of clay, and you're going to mold this into the shape of her bottom half. And I don't know how to explain this shape, but I want the bottom part of the clay to be thicker and tapered to the end like a train. The pink piece of clay, roll this gently into a hot dog shape and flatten it down with a roller. And once you get this into a really thin sheet of pink clay, you're going to wrap this around the top half of your white body and just cut off all the excess clay, and it's only going to cover about half of the body. When you're done, it'll look like this. And go ahead and take a purple piece of clay and roll this into a long, thin snake and flatten it down with a roller. Now put this purple clay along the edge of where you put the pink clay, like so. And we're going to form the bottom part of her dress, and you're just going to take the same dark red maroon colored clay and form a thin sheet. Now with a blade, cut off one edge of your red sheet and put this all along the rest of her lower part of her body. I'm just cutting off the red piece of clay so that you can still see some of the white clay underneath for depth. I'm really just freehanding where I want the red clay to end and smooth out the rough edges, and it should look like this. Now with some blue clay that's already been flattened into a sheet, you're going to cut a very thin sheet of blue clay out. I want this sheet to be really thin, and it's going to cover the part where it's kind of uneven when the pink and red clay meet. And when you're done putting this together, go ahead and smooth this blue clay out so that it looks really nice and snug on her body. When you're done, it should look something like this. And this kind of looks like an obi, like the Japanese clothes. So I'm going to add on an extra red maroon ribbon on top of the blue clay, like she does in her Disney character, and it should look like this. Now with some light green clay, you're going to take off a very, very small piece of green clay, and you're going to form the collar of her dress. So take the clay and flatten it out a little bit and put it on both sides of where her neck would be. You can use a clay tool to help smooth it out if you want, and when you're done, it should look like this. For her sleeves, I'm taking the same pink colored clay and rolling it into a snake. I'm cutting two small pieces to form the sleeves. And I'm going to shape it so that the tips are a little bit thicker than where her shoulders are. You're going to gently attach each of these arms along the side of her upper torso. And when you're done, you should have a really cute body by now. Now taking the light piece of purple clay, you're going to roll this into a thin snake and flatten it out with a roller. And if you haven't guessed it already, this is going to form the long piece of cloth that wraps around her body. You can position this piece wherever you want. I'm just putting it around her arms, and I'm tucking it where the train of her dress is at. Alright, to put the head and the body together, I'm using a gold pin to help secure the two pieces together. Go ahead and insert the gold pin in the head first, and then just sneak the body right underneath to where you want it to be at. And all you really need to do now is give her a really cute face. So I'm going to give her two very large black eyes that are widely spaced apart. I'm going to give her a small petite cherry red lips like she does in the movie, and I'm going to give some highlights on her eyes to give it some shine and depth. That's how I made my chibi Mulan. I hope you guys find this video helpful. I know a lot of you guys made requests, and I'm slowly getting through each of them, so hang in there. Thank you so much for your support, and for more videos, please give me a thumbs up. My Instagram username is flyingmio. You can follow me there if you want, and I'll see you guys real soon. Thank you so much for watching, and good luck, you guys!